Well, hello everybody. I'm still on the beach. Hi guys, who just joined me, three of you. Say hi. Let's put the chat on because I can't see at the moment. Live chat. Well, I'm still persevering on the beach. Me and Billy Bob. Billy Bob's curled up in his little bed. The bed which is actually a bait bucket. And I'm still fishing. I've done a catch and cook, which hopefully I've videoed, but I've been having all sorts of technical problems with tech tonight. Camera's not working properly, and tried to do the StreamYard thing with Jason, and it worked for about 30 seconds and then just stopped working. So I'm not sure why that is. I'll have to do a bit more research into it, have a chat with the people from StreamYard. Could be that because I'm trying to do it off a phone rather than a router, it doesn't like that, but who knows. I mean, when it worked pretty well. It's good. And what I'd love to be able to do is to do it with, say, Jason, and him fish Langley, me fish Seaford. So we're, 10 miles apart, but be able to chat and talk about what we're doing and talk with everyone else. So it has lots of potential, but didn't seem to work very well tonight. So who's there? Who's watching? Say hello. Um, I'm going to stick it out for a couple of hours more, I think. Tide is on the turn, just starting to flood now. Um, I'm not. I've got big baits out, should we say? Well, I've got one little bait which has got a great big hook next to it, hoping that we'll pick something up on a live whiting, and the other one's got a small cuttlefish on it. So there's every chance I won't catch anything, but if I do catch something, it'll be something worth catching. Hello, hello, Bolly. How you doing, mate? Yeah, thanks for joining us earlier on. And as I say, sorry about the StreamYard thing. Yeah, it just didn't work. Didn't work tonight for me. It's the first time I've tried it. To be honest, maybe I should have played with it at home first, because I really didn't know what I was doing, and Jason didn't know what to do either. So, but it's a great idea. I love it. I love the idea. If we can get it to work, it's a really good idea. Who else is there? Bobby Swells, CJ. Do you use your what? My number 10. Sorry. Which 10 are you talking about? Do you use your R10? Yeah, I do. I haven't used it for a little while, to be fair, but there's no reason for that. It is a bloody good rod. Sorry, bloody good reel, and it will come out again. Yeah, I will use it again. Yeah, good reel. It's a good reel. Well recommended. Well recommended. Good price. Very stylish. Apparently, I don't know if you saw the video, but they're going to come up. They're going to bring them out in black in future. The only problem I would suggest with the R10, and it's a minor problem, is the white does chip, and so if it's been rolling around your tackle bag for any length of time, it starts to look a bit tatty, which is a pity, because when it's brand new, it is an awesome looking reel. Also, when I bought it, I did have a couple of white rods, and so mounted on a white rod, it was really sexy. Yeah, R10 reel. So Achios Air Loop R10. Yeah, it's cracking. Keep mine in its bag. Yeah, well, that's kind of the sensible thing to do. I think I don't think I'm the most sensible of people when it comes to stuff like that. And when I packed up at the end of the night, it tends to get thrown in the tackle box because all I want to do is get home. But you're right, it would probably be best if it was kept in his bag. I have to say, I've not had any problems with it, and I was talking to Tony about them the other day. He reckons he's had very few returns of them, so they're a good wheel. When they first came out, a lot of people were slagging them off, but to be honest, if it was gold plated and made out of titanium and totally indestructible, and it had 4,000 bloody ball bearings and a slow gearing and all sorts of things like that, and a motor, there would still be people that slag it off. So whatever. Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. Right, 4 or 5 people here. I tried to get back online after the failure of the StreamYard, and I was just looking at nobody for a little while. I think people were pissed off with me, to be honest. It wasn't my fault. It was a tech issue. I can't believe, looking along this beach, that I'm the only person fishing. Can't see any lights along there. It's it's a beautiful night. I'm guessing that people looked at the forecast. I mean, last night was a disaster. I mean, I fully intended to go fishing last night because the long forecast was for Thursday to be perfect, but it changed. And yeah, the weather changed during the week, and it was horrible last night. I mean, it's lovely in the afternoon, lovely in the afternoon. I went down to Pevensey with Glyn from Angus Den and had a couple of chucks with the new Penn rod that I wanted to check out. And it was perfect. I had the drone up, drone was flying easily, but it just changed. It really changed. Jason went out, fished it, and really, really got blown off the beach. Well, I christened my Penn Affinity tonight. It caught a good load of whiting. They were coming in 3 at a time on a 3-hook flapper. But I did go and buy a Penn rod today, which I really shouldn't have done, but I couldn't resist it. And so far, it hasn't caught me anything yet. But I have been using big baits in it. And the baits have been coming back completely mashed up, I'm guessing, by little whiting. Yeah, so you can see the rods, you'll be able to shout out and see something happen. There is a little bit of activity on the further rod. It's quivering and shaking a little bit, but as I say, it's a huge bait on there. Well, it's a reasonable sized bait on there, but it's cuttlefish, which is quite tough. Yeah. So who else is here then? I'm going to have to change my seating position to get uncomfortable. Oh, that's a bit better. Oh, that's a bit better. Sitting back, leaning onto the actual backrest of the seat rather than the handle, which is probably the worst position to sit in, but it is a little bit more comfortable. This camera's not picking it up, but it's a really starry night. Really starry. I think I'll probably fish till about midnight and then pack it in then. Yeah, definitely something causing that rod to quiver and shake a little bit. And it's monofill on it, so the tugs could be bigger than they look. To be honest, I'd be quite happy with a bloody dogfish. Anything was not whiting. I packed my whiting rod up, to be honest, because I'm sure that I could have just been slaughtering whiting all night, but I can't see the point in it. I caught enough for me to fillet and cut up and fry, and I had them for my tea, and they were very, very nice. And then I stopped fishing for them. It'd be interesting to see if the video came out. It was a little bit difficult to get the cameras right, but if it did, what I did was I rolled them up in, I cut the fillets, rolled them up, and then wrapped them in Parma ham, and then dipped them in flour, eggs and breadcrumbs, and then fried them like that. Oh, delicious. And to my surprise, I think I found one bone the whole time. So yeah, proper good. I had them in a wrap, and although there were two of the whiting were quite small, one of them was medium. It was more than I could eat. More than I could eat. I mean, obviously I had them in wraps, but yeah, a little bit of chili mayo. It was proper nice. Am I missing out on loads of chat here? Okay, 9 people on here, so who else is here? Say hi. Hey, I spoke too soon, so obviously one person didn't like the fact that I was counting hours on here and disappeared. So what I love about fishing like this, you're sitting here, it's very quiet, it's not very good. But if one of those rods was suddenly to bend right over, the adrenaline rush would be immense. to have to bring that left-hand rod in again and rebait it, because I think it's just been ragged. Bait's just getting ragged at. What to do? Maybe put a squid on it and stuff it with. I've got a load of manky black lug that I need to use up, so I've got a squid and stuffed it with manky black lug. Centre out now. I cooked on my little rocket stove, which burns wood, and it's still burning. You can see the smoke coming off it. Can you hear me all right? I'm sitting back here yakking away to myself. It's possible that you can't hear me. Smoking so much. Probably because it's just coming to the end. Just the last knockings. Which is a pity, because I could have actually stoked it back up again and had a brew. But I haven't got any more wood. I wonder how much burning it is. Well, I walked up the beach looking for wood, and look what I found. Nice little lid. Always good to find free tackle.
I don't think that's I don't want to crack off. I think that's somebody's dropped that as a illegal thing. There's no line in it, I think.
Oh, how are we doing? Oh, that light's getting dimmer, isn't it, I think? Got the kettle on now. Got some more wood in the furnace, and hopefully we'll hear the kettle whistling in a bit. We're going to go and wind that rod in. What do you reckon? Yeah, I think we'll wind that rod in and freshen the bait up. one huge bait. So we whack that out and it will stay out. It's very juicy. Make my fingers, hand dirty as hell. It's a cod or nothing. Cod or nothing. Oh, back. That light is getting dim. With light.
Proper charge, give it a good charge.
Oh. So, who's here now? Have I missed any chat? No. Oh, hello, Go. Valerie, how you there? Hey, Val. Hey. End Fishing Nation. Hello from Nebraska, USA. Yeah, hi. Hi from Nebraska. I'm imagining it's quite snowy and cold there at the moment. Whereas actually it's quite mild here, strangely. Hopefully, we have the kettle boiling in a minute. Kettle boil. So, got the kettle on the fire. Fire's smouldering at the moment, but it will suddenly burst into flames, I'm sure. Got the teacup and the milk, sweeteners all ready to go. Just wait for that kettle to whistle. As I say, it's a bit, the wood is a bit damp, I think, so it's taking a little while to dry out before it will burn. Right, we're fishing all or nothing now. I've got a huge bait on the left-hand rod, the blue rod, and a stinger rig on the red rod. We'll leave that out irrespective. Hopefully it'll pick up a live whiting, or it's picked up a live whiting already and it's sitting out there. But I've got a clue what the time is, but I'm sure it must be getting on. Snowing. Is that snowing? It might rain, I say. Ah. I don't know if it's gonna, I mean, it's charged up a little bit and it's on a battery pack now, so hopefully it's continuing to charge and hold its own. But yeah, not having a very good night one way or another. Hopefully I've got enough footage to make a video out of tonight. Obviously the lives have been an absolute bloody failure. Sorry about that, guys, but I sort of left without saying cheerio, but my phone died, basically. I didn't know that I'd be allowed to resume the chat, which is actually quite handy. Come on, that's a big lunging bite. Just to polish off the evening with a bit of adrenaline and a big fish. Yeah. Snowing and cold. Right, okay, mate. I picked that up. I think I replied to it as the phone died. Yeah, I've never been to Nebraska. I've been to Wisconsin. Can't be a million miles from there. And I've been to Canada, near Medicine Hat. What's the fishing like in Nebraska? I mean, I'm chatting away, you've probably gone. Just hope that we've got these whiting and tugging away at this cutting out there, releasing all sorts of scent particles into the water, and there's a big, ugly cod or conger swimming up that scent trail, looking to see where it's coming from. You can almost visualise it. And then I woke up.
cup of tea.
You can see that or not? Got myself a cup of tea. Can't beat a fresh brewed cup of tea on the beach. Nearly midnight. Come on, big fish.
Wedged in there, lovely. So I messed around with it, and now it's become unwedged. Play in there. That's better.
I'll see the screen now. I think you'd agree it's a lovely evening. Lovely evening. I mean, it's not cold. It's in my breath quite hard, but I'm well dressed up. I'm in the beach shelter, so that's a bit of self-radiated heat. Dog's in his bed.
No, he's shivering really good. Yeah, mate. It's cold.
You might get to sleep with me on the sofa tonight, Billy Bob, because I think I'm not going to disturb Marina when I get home. I'm just going to get up and crash on the sofa. I should get a good night's sleep. What's everybody else up to? What are you up to, guys and girls? Come on, gods. Definitely got. I've got something on the live bait rod. Definitely. It's just moving around a little bit. There's a live whiting on there. Oh, there's a fox over there. Billy Bob, didn't see that, did you? Probably didn't see that on the camera. Good eye shine. Fox on the far side of this little bay. Get a lot of foxes on these beaches actually. We were when we were packing up last time I was down here, and we were sitting in the van. There was some Kentucky Fried Chicken that someone had thrown away, which I'd had to prize the dog off because he was about to woof down an old mouthful of bones. But we were sitting in the van, and a great big dog fox appeared right next to the van and was sitting there eating his Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Billy Bob spotted him and he was going mental. I think this bloody dog fox was probably about half again as big as Billy Bob. I don't know, either we would have probably run off. Yeah, I think Billy Bob's probably got ideas above his station. Carl, how you doing, buddy? And Bobby Swales, hey mate. Um, Bobby, you've been up and down. Sorry, mate. I've had some tech problems tonight. Um, chilling, watching you, mate. Okay. Oh well, I'm sorry. It's not very exciting. Perhaps you should be watching the Fish Locker on YouTube. Well, I was talking to John today, and he was saying he's going up, climbing up the walls because he can't get out fishing. So at least I'm down the beach. Looking at the weather, actually, I might be able to get a boat out during the week. A bit like, I'll have to speak to Alex and see if he's up to it. I know he's not doing very well, so. But nice to get out and drop the anchor just off Seaford Head and catch some cod. Come on, you fish. Both rods are having little knocks and rattles on them. Now, the nearest rod, that means I've got a live bait on there, which is good because it's hooked itself on the worm bait. But the far rod, as I say, is a huge bait on there, so I'm not going to be hooking any whiting with that, but they will come along and nibble at it. But it's cuttlefish, and cuttlefish is pretty tough, so should withstand quite a bit of ragging on the off chance that something big comes along.
I don't know why.
All good, thanks, Chris. Billy Bob, yeah, Billy Bob's here. He's curled up in his bait bucket. Okay, mate. Yeah, well, I mean, a night like tonight, I mean, that's why I'm still here. I mean, I wasn't planning to stay this late, but I'd rather be sitting here doing this and watching television at home, which is what I do, because I tend not to, I don't go to bed early. Yeah, pop your link up, bud. Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking. That's really good. Yeah, pop your link up, mate. And I'll have a look at it a bit later on. I'll have a look. Yeah. I mean, I can understand people who've got hundreds of people visiting their streams and what have you. If everybody starts banging links up, it becomes a bloody link fest. But there's only 9 of you watching, so Carl, if you want to put your link up, mate, please do. Let's have a look at Billy Bob while you're doing that. Let's see what he's doing. Let's turn the camera around so you can see Billy Bob. Put some light onto him. Here's the Billy Bob. Oops. Curled up in his bait bucket. Got his coat on. Ooh, lots of little shaking and rattling going on that rod that's got a huge cut on it. But they're just tiny little vibrations. You can imagine it's little fish that are grabbing hold of it and spinning to take off chunks. Wow, a starry night. Get my camera and take some pictures, but unfortunately the battery's flat in the camera. So I'm having a tech nightmare night tonight. I need to come up with a better way of holding my camera for these lives, because it's on a little selfie stick with a small tripod on it, but it's very precarious and not very high. It needs to be higher up really. I've got 15 likes. Thank you very much for the likes, guys and gals. If you haven't pressed that thumbs up like button, please would you do so, because it's what makes it all worthwhile really. Just want to be liked. What's everybody watching on YouTube these days? Is there any new channels that you found that are worthy of watching? Because I do spend a lot of time watching YouTube, I must admit. I'd rather watch that than terrestrial TV most of the time. So if you see, if there's anything that's worthy of a watch, give us a shout, let me know what it is. What's that? He can't see because he's not a mod. He's not a mod. Alright, just done a live tonight, mate. Oh, have you? Oh, well, cool. How did it go? Probably better than mine has. Yeah, Billy Bob is a star. Hey, Sammy. Oh, was it your birthday yesterday, was it, Bobby? Happy birthday yesterday. Yeah, it's whiting having a go, but the bait is monstrous, so... Alright. Any cod? Yeah. But none here. You need to be on the Bristol Channel. Yeah, it's a bit of a long way to go, really. Oh, thanks very much. 16 likes, 8 watching. I've got 9 and 15 likes according to my thing. Something had 80 watching and 19 likes. All right, well, that's cool. That's good. That's a good start. It's better than I'm doing. I think my record for likes was a couple of weeks ago. I think I got 66. I mean, Jason's doing a lot of lives now. I think he does a live. Oh, hello, light's gone out. Look at them stars. Can you see the stars or not? I don't think the camera's good enough to pick up the stars. Right, need to change batteries on the camera light.
I have got some more of those carpets and dig them out.
And the phone's running off one of my hand warmers, so I don't know how long that's going to last. It's meant to be a 10k charge, so it should last. Yeah, I don't know if any of you were here for the disastrous StreamYard stream that I tried this afternoon or this evening. I mean, it worked briefly. I mean, Jason and I were both on it for a little while, and it just died. So I'm going to need to speak to the StreamYard people and say what the hell was going on. Of course, because I've got a camera on these fishing rods, nothing's going to happen until the time I'm filming it, because fish are notoriously camera shy. Well, certainly in my experience. A number of times I've had a rod bouncing around, switch the camera and it stops instantly. It's happened tonight a couple of times. That far rod is my new rod, incidentally, so it would be nice to christen it with something decent.
Why is it I'm not seeing these messages? I have to touch the screen each time to get them to come up.
Okay, Carl. Yeah, let me have your link so I can have a look at it. If you need any tips or anything like that, let me know, and I'll give you some ideas. Hey Steve, how you doing? Thank you for joining. If you haven't done so already, give us a thumbs up. Yeah, £12 card, £40 card on Bristol Channel from the beach. Yeah, it used to be like that here, but we're talking. So I moved here in 1989, and even in 1989 they were talking about how it used to be. So what's that? 90? That's 32 years ago. So over 30 years ago, it used to be like that here, but it's not now. You get the odd one. You do get the odd one. We had a couple out on the boat. Well, on the boat. So we had one on my boat and one on one of the other boats. We had a little competition 3 or 4 weeks ago. The biggest was about £4 or £5. So £12 cod off the beach. That is an awesome fish. I mean, I used to live. My house used to be right next to the beach, and I did have some people turn up in my front garden one night, asking if I got a set of scales, because they had a £12 cod off the beach at Seaford. But again, that was in about 1990. Yeah, I'm afraid those days of cod. You know, there's been a few shown up on the wrecks. There was a few caught on the wrecks during the summer. That was last week. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to do some travelling and fishing different places. I went down to Hive the other day and had a fish there. All I caught was whiting and dogfish. I have got the video to edit to put together for that, but we'll see if it's any good or not. I mean, I was watching Slippy Limpet's videos the other day. He's been getting quite a few cod off the beach, only small ones, but still. The bearded unicorns. Yeah. South Wales anglers. Yeah, a few cod showing around here, but nothing big. Average about £5. I mean, £5 cod's a nice fish, isn't it? I mean, it's got a mouth you can put your fist into. I use Filmora. You can get it free, although I think it might put a watermark on. Okay, mate, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah, obviously keep it quiet, don't tell everybody, because you get down there and find it shoulder to shoulder with people. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I guess I'm pretty sure the Bristol Channel, you got to use pretty heavy duty rods. I mean, I have got some heavy duty rods to be fair. I mean, there are cod here. There are cod here. Probably within a kilometre of me, there's a cod. But nowhere near my bait. But the bait that I've got out at the moment is going to be chucking out such a lot of scent that hopefully, if there is any fish around, they're going to find it. And it was a raging storm last night, so the bottom's got to be churned up. There's got to be loads of natural food here. I mean, I think I'm very lucky where I live, but it's not, you know, there are better fishing spots, shall we say. Yeah, I've got some zippies. What bait are you on at the moment? I've got a stinger rig, which is basically a big hook with a little tiny hook with a small piece of worm on the little tiny hook. So hopefully that is fishing a live whiting, and I think I am, because it has been moving around. The rod tip's been moving around, and then the other rod has got a whole cuttlefish on it. I mean, not a huge adult cuttlefish. It's probably about 6 inches long, including its head, which I filled with carp, and it's pretty manky carp, to be honest. It's been frozen and defrosted several times now. So that's going to be giving up a right stink into the water. And that's what I'm fishing. Got 2 weeks ago out of Cardiff, 128 boats, but only 20 cod caught, biggest. £16 just shows how cod fishing in general has fallen away, especially in the Bristol Channel. Yeah, I mean, it's industrial, isn't it, the fishing for cod. You know, see the pictures of the there was a map put up the other day we showed all the locations of all the trawlers out of south of Ireland, and there was like a wall of trawlers right across from the south of Ireland. You know, the fish aren't going to get through that. Yeah, it's about time they had a cod ban, isn't it, really? The trouble is, even when there's a cod ban on, they all bloody catch them. Even if they're catching them and throwing them back, they're throwing them back dead. I mean, there were quite a few cod around in the summer. So on one particular wreck, everyone was catching cod off it. Of course, the word got out which wreck it was, and it got fished out. But you know, there were cod showing around, and we fished a competition, 4 boats, and caught 2 cod. So it's kind of 50% of the boats caught cod. Biggest one was about £5. So 128 boats, 20 cod caught. Biggest £16, and the biggest one we had was about £5. I mean, about 5 years ago, I took Woody out off Seaford Head. We had a cod comp, and we'd blanked. No one caught anything on it. And the following week we went out, and Woody had a 22-pounder. So they're around. Yeah, it was the biggest cod I've had in the boat. Hey, and we've always said it about trawlers. Used to be on a night like tonight, you'd look out to sea and all you would see is trawlers going up and down. You don't see that now. All the little trawlers have gone. And the big industrial, the huge factory trawlers. Of course, the technology is so much better. They can find the fish. They can, you know, side scanning sonar, so they can pick up the shoals of fish and go and catch a whole shoal of fish. Whereas in the old days, it was a bit hit and miss. It's not just the trawlers. All fish are under immense pressure. You know, I've had arguments with people about mackerel. You know, yes, the big trawlers are sucking up schools of them, but people taking 150 mackerel away from the beach a night, that's not sustainable either. And to be quite honest with you, why? You know, take some for food, take some to freeze down for bait, but 150 of them, really? Yeah, anyway, that's my little gripe over. It does pain me to see. People seem to go into a feeding frenzy when the fish are like that. They can't stop themselves catching them, and I have to stop myself. You know, we was a couple of times later in the summer this year when there was a huge show of mackerel here, and you know you catch, you think kind of, I'm just going to catch one more. Oh, I'm just going to catch one more. No, stop. You've got enough. You know, and you know, catch and release them. I don't know that mackerel survive being caught and released. I don't know. Anyway, that's my little gripe over. Don't know what the answer is. There'll come the day that you'll be happy to catch a pouting or a dogfish, because that's all that's left and there aren't many of them. I mean, I stopped catching whiting. I caught enough whiting tonight. That's it. I'm not going to catch any more. Don't want to be slaughtering whiting, because, to be fair, no matter how carefully you handle them, not many of them swim away. That's why the foxes are so prolific around here, because they'll be down here scouring the beach for dead whiting. Well, I suppose I might have to think about packing up and going home soon. No matter how much I'm enjoying this, because I am enjoying it, and I'm enjoying all your company. It's very nice to share this with me. It means you're not alone, isn't it? You know, you've got people to chat to. It's great. Come on, Rods. No, never been to Norway. Yeah. Yeah. £10 cod at a spin off the Harbour Wall. Now, I could appreciate that, but how much of the fishing in Norway is jigging great big perks in sort of 300 feet of water? Because I don't know if I see the fun in that personally, but each to his own. But you know, I do hear good stories about Norway, and of course in Norway, from the harbour wall or from the edge of a fjord, you can be casting at 200 feet of water. It must be pretty cool. The only thing about Norway is it's cold. Cold in the winter, and lots of bitey flies in the summer. But no, I've not been there. I wouldn't say it's on my bucket list, but if someone offered me a trip there, I'd go. And there's some also other nice big fishes, wolffish and what have you, that aren't, you know, you don't see around, like a huge blenny with teeth. Galaxian. well, 1 year ban on fishing the seas would be like Jurassic times again, he thinks. I think it'd need to be more than 1 year, unfortunately. They, you know, the herring boats, they stopped herring fishing. The boats were scrapped, and the herring are only just starting to show up again now, and that's, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 years ago since they stopped commercial fishing for herring. So I think it would be more than 1 year, unfortunately. It takes longer than that for the stock to restock. I mean, having said that, the bass nurseries, I think that's definitely making a difference. There's a lot more bass around now than were. I have to say, I don't quite get how during when you can catch bass, we as sport anglers can only catch 2, and then the commercial boys can go and catch tons of them. I've never had fathomed that one out. I suspect that somebody was asked how many sports fishermen go fishing for bass, and they came up with some huge number, and so they said, right, well, we're going to have to stop that because that's going to have a major impact on the numbers of bass. And what they should have asked was how many people actually catch bass, because I think there's plenty of people go fishing for bass, but only a small percentage of them actually catch anything. I've kind of gone off bass fishing actually. I used to do a lot of bass fishing, but yeah, I've kind of gone off it a bit. I'm kind of into catching other species now, species that I'd ignored, to be honest. When I went out on my boat, I'd rather go and get 10 different species, you know, 1 of each, than catch 10 of one species of fish. It's a bit weird, but I quite like coming back in the boat and saying we've had 7 species of fish today. Albeit, you know, that's included a dogfish, a mackerel, a scad, but you know, other fish that have come up during the day. I do like that. And I do take fish home to eat, but hey, but Galaxian, do we want to go back to Jurassic times? Because there were some big nasty things that would have eaten you. All fish to 14 pound, halibut to 140, 180 pound halibut, 7 ounce perks with gunny, max or shads. Okay. Weavers and bullets. Yeah. I went out on the sandbanks, which are out on the shipping lanes, with a friend of mine earlier in the year, with the intention that we were going to try and catch a fresher shark. I think it was a fairly forlorn hope, but we give it a go anyway. But while we were drifting, we were dragging baits on the bottom as well, and we were catching the greater weaver fish. I mean, I've never seen greater weaver fish. You get lots of little weaver fish here, the lesser weaver fish, close into shore. But wow, the weaver fish we were getting were monsters. You wouldn't want to get spiked by one, I tell you. And they bloody try to spike you when they're wriggling around on the boat. But I did take one home and eat it, and it was very nice. That's a good question. Do you think the bass nurseries areas around places like Chichester and Langstone have contributed to the demise of flounders? It is true that flounders seem to be in decline, don't they? I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what's happened to flounders. Could be, couldn't it? Could be. Why would you think that the bass nurseries would cause a demise of flounders? Because the bass are feeding on the little flounders, or eating the eggs? I mean, I've seen seals eating flounders, and there are a lot more seals around this area than ever used to be. And in fact, I mean, about 2 or 3 trips down here, I was setting up here, and there was a seal who was out of the water watching me. I mean, it's all in balance, isn't it? And you change anything, and you change the balance, without a doubt. And it's very hard to judge which change is going to change what. I think the wind farm off here has changed stuff. I think that some of the fish that we're seeing on the shore now are here because the wind farm is where they would ordinarily be. So a lot of rays on the shore. You never used to catch rays off the beach, but you catch loads here now. And smoothhounds, the smoothhounds have moved up here, big numbers in the last couple of years. Used to be Selsey was where was the smoothhound beaches, but they seem to be up here now. And long may they stay, because they are great fish to catch. Oh, just seen a shooting star. Yeah, 12-hour burn if you get stung by one, I bet. Greater weaver, less poisonous than smaller relative I hear. Possibly, but these were big feckers, and they had big spines on them, so I envision that they'd be quite deep, bedded in you with venom. Have you tried the Century Fireblade? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I mean, I'm a bit of a tackle tart, but I clearly haven't tried a lot of stuff. I like Ziplex rods, and kind of Ziplex rods was what brought me down to Sussex, really, because I was coming down buying them from Tony's Tackle. I bought my first Ziplex from Tony's Tackle, and I used to start coming down here fishing with them, so I moved down here. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I used to do a lot of shrimp net pushing on the flats here down near the East Pier at Newhaven, and you always used to pick up loads of little flounders and loads of little turbot, actually, little turbot and brill, and little tiny soles, all about 2 inches long or smaller. And I went down there. Was it this year? Maybe it was spring and did it. Didn't get one flatfish in my nets, which was weird because I always used to get loads. Gurnards, yeah, there have been some gurnards around. I don't know this time of the year, but earlier in the year people were getting gurnards off the beach. Had a few on the boat. I chucked my casting camera out early in the summer, and actually got a gurnard swimming around the bait on the camera. So you do get gurnards. Again, you get a lot of tubs. You get the odd red, but the tubs aren't particularly large. Tub gurnard can get quite big. You get about 5 or 6 pound tub gurnard, but I've not seen one for a long time. Is Tony's Tackle from? No. Tony's Tackle is in Eastbourne, in Seaside, Eastbourne. He's always been there. I'm trying to think of the name of the shop at Hastings. Might be something simple like Hastings Angling or something like that. When we did our round the coast visiting all the tackle shops, unfortunately the last one we did on the leg that sort of came back to Eastbourne was the Hastings one, and he just shut. So he got a card through the window and a telephone call from Jason. We didn't actually manage to go and look in the shop, but through the window it looked like quite a good shop. Oh right, okay. I don't know if the tackle shop in Hastings, it's the one I know is a bit up the road from the pier. It's a bit inland from the pier, but about level with the pier maybe, or the end, you know, the main road that goes up from the seafront, as if you were driving out of Eastbourne. It's up there somewhere. No, Tony's been here in Eastbourne for over 40 years. Yeah, he's been here a long time. He's just brought a book out actually, which I bought, and I've just got to start reading it. I've got on about page 3 at the moment. It's finding time to sit down and read a book. It's not always easy. The batteries on my big light are running down really quickly now. So, what time is it? I don't know what time is it. Guys, what time is it? Someone tell me the time, because I can't. Okay. Coffee, catch up on the local scene. Yeah, we'll do. I will do. Thanks for that tip. Jason, because I don't know if you know the Eastbourne fisherman, Jason Scott. He and I started, it was a conversation on the beach, which is one of these fishermen's conversations that turns into, Hastings Angling Centre. We decided we needed to be doing more to support your local tackle shops. All right, 12:35, is it, by God? And then I came up with a brilliant idea. Well, we ought to go and visit them all, without really thinking about what that meant. So in the end, we actually visited but virtually every sea angling centre from Southend all the way round Kent, all the way around Sussex, Hampshire, Dorset, Devon, Cornwall, and then up to Somerset and all the way up to Bristol. So we did every single shop, and then Jason after that has written to them all. I don't know how far he's got. He was certainly up as far as Newcastle on the east coast and up past Liverpool on the west coast, right into all the tackle shops and sending them our card, which basically says support your local tackle shop, use them or lose them. And we're still doing it, and I'm kind of revisiting the local tackle shops around here, and giving them a little bit of support, doing a video about whatever it is that they're trying to promote. So I've been in Tony's and I've been in the Angler's Den. I've done 2 videos with each. So I've done a sort of generic one on the Angler's Den about rods, done a generic one with Tony's about reels, and then I've been down the beach now to go with one of the rods and a go with one of the reels. The reels video, the second reels video is not out yet. I've got to edit it. And the next thing I want to do is the other tackle shop that I use a lot is Tools and Tackle in Newhaven. So I was going to go in there today, but I couldn't get through the traffic. To see what they've got, see if there's anything that they're promoting that I can do an episode about. And then what I want to do is I want to buy a £50 rod and reel, cheap starting kit, and then come down and fish with it. And video it, obviously make a video about fishing with a £50 kit. Obviously put some decent end tackle on it, put a shock leader on it, because they don't tend to come with a shock leader. Come down the beach and just come and catch some whiting with it, and then make a video about it to try and encourage people that you can go and buy a sort of cheap tackle and you can catch fish with it. So that's my next project, I think, in addition to any of these sort of things, sessions on the beach and what have you. Well, I think I might be flogging a dead horse. I think that any hope of a decent fish, would have happened in the first hour of the tide flooding, which is now finished. So I think I'm going to be knocking it on the head fairly shortly, and wending my way back home and getting some kip. Thank you so much for joining me, and for those of you that have been with me on the 2 or 3 attempts that I've had of trying to go live tonight, please, 1, accept my apologies for being messed around, and 2, thank you very much for your patience. Yeah, big applause to you. This is the only reason that you know that I do what I do with YouTube is for you guys. And Matt Hayes, 12-foot surf kit from Harvest, 55 rod and reel and kit. Yeah, but I don't want to buy it from Argus. Right, one of the things we're trying to get around is that don't buy stuff from Argus and from online. You're in Uckfield, right, mate? Well, that's not a million miles from here. Why are you down here fishing? You could be here from Uckfield in 40 minutes. I lived near very Uckfield for a little while. Yeah, it's about supporting local tackle shops. Now, all the local tackle shops do a £50 starter kit. So I'm going to buy a £50 starter kit. It's not cold, it's lovely, I'm toasty. Dog's shivering, but... yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the tackle shop. I'm going to buy myself a £50 kit. I'll buy some terminal tackle from the tackle shop, get some bait from there, have a chat about where to go fishing with it, and go and have a fish. That's what I'm going to do. My next project, I think. That's what I'm planning out anyway. So I don't know if that'll work or not. I mean, I guess it'd have to be a day session, and the problem is day fishing in this time of year is a little bit hit or miss. I mean, I suppose I could do it with a torch, and, what have you. I don't know. It's a thought and process. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I tell you what else. Somebody slagged up, because I did an article about the Penn Affinity reel, and someone piped up, and there's always somebody that's got a negative view on something. Someone piped, well, I bought 2 of those and they both broke, and I haven't had an email back from Penn. What kind of service is that? And I replied to him, well, if you bought it from a local tackle shop, they would manage that for you. If it was a reputable dealer, you could have taken those reels back, and they would have managed the repair and replacement of those, so you wouldn't have to be trying to email Penn. Well, unbeknownst to me, the local Penn rep had watched the video, and he was able to reply to this bloke and said, right, PM me your address, I'll arrange for the collection of those reels and I'll get them replaced for you, which kind of shut him up a little bit, I think. But the point being is that most of the tackle shops I know, if you had 2 reels break like that, if you took them back, they'd be devastated by it, and they would do everything they could to replace that. I happen to know Penn's customer service is very good. One of the things that came out when we did the Angler Den thing about rods, Glyn was telling me that the guy had come in and bought a Rampage rod from him, and he'd had problems with the reel seat on it. Now Rampage, they've stopped doing Rampage, so they replaced it with a brand new rod from the new series of rods. So that's kind of how serious Penn take it. So, you know, most of the tackle manufacturers, the good ones, they're pretty reputable, but do it through a shop, because they know who to speak to. You know, you buy something online. I mean, I buy stuff online, I must admit, and to be quite honest, probably 50% of the stuff I buy is wrong. It's not what I was expecting. It's bigger, or it's smaller, or it's, you know, when you get hold of it, you know, is that it? That's not how it looked in the picture. But yeah, I'm gonna have to. Cheers, Carl. Don't you go robbing my idea now, Carl. That's my idea. You think your own ideas. That's the other thing, is you have to be careful talking to YouTubers, because you come up with an idea and the next day they put the bloody video out and you go, oh, hang on a minute, that was my idea. And I'm sure that I see things on YouTube, I don't even realise but it sowed the seed of an idea in my head, and the next thing you know is I've done what they've done without realising that I've just stolen their idea. Well, Carl, where are you based? Well, can I just say, if you took that Akis Fury into Tony's tackle, he'd probably trade it off for you against something else. He's quite good at trading stuff in. I've certainly had several rods out of Tony's and then used them for a while and gone and traded them up for other things. And in fact, it paid me quite good money for some of the rods that I'd had from him. So no, Tony's always willing to do a deal and change things like that. Yeah, it's each to his own. I mean, I had 3 Continental rods which I traded up, got the money and bought Ziplex with what I'd got from them. So Biz Barber Barry, hello mate. Oh mate, Birmingham, blimey. You're in Scotland, Sammy. Awesome. What's the fishing like up in Scotland at the moment? I don't think there's much sea fishing in Birmingham. I've been going up to the Midlands quite a lot, a little bit east of Birmingham and Lutterworth and Doncaster, and there ain't much sea fishing around there either. Although I did do a bit of course fishing. I haven't course fished for decades, but I was camping. I was going up and staying overnighting up in near Doncaster, and the guy I was working with, he's got a caravan on a fishery. So I've been going up there and camping there, and I had a couple of days fishing on the fishery in the summer, because finish work at 6 or 7 o'clock, go and have a couple of hours before it gets dark. Really had a good time. I mean, these were stocked ponds, to be honest, and so I was catching fish. Bournemouth. I mean, I fished down that way, Christchurch and around that as well. Yeah, I mean, if you know the spots, they're all good, aren't they? Oh, that's good. Good to hear. Good to hear. There's a good run of cod. I was hoping we were going to have a good run of cod here tonight, but it's not to be. Not for me, anyway. Maybe I'm not casting out far enough. Who knows? Who knows what the answers are? Do I ever float fish rocks? I don't actually. I don't. The nearest I've ever come to that is kayaking and drifting with prawns on. But no, I'm not a great float fisher. I mean, in the right time of the year, it's a killer way of catching bass, garfish, mackerel. No, it's not something I've tried. Going all this, yeah, okay. Yeah, the Grays rods are pretty good. Really had them breaking. Five smooth hands. What size? Anything decent size? I've had some nice smooth hands off this mark here actually, where I'm fishing now. But the biggest was about £8. But on a beach rod that runs you up and down the beach. Actually, I say £8, probably a bit more than that. I was maybe being a little bit. It was a big fish. Smoothhounds last September. Oh, okay, puffs. Yeah, I mean, last year, about, I'm not sure what time of year it was, but I was fishing. I had a sole rig out, and I had three hook size 8 hooks, little tiny half-inch of worm on them, and my rod went winging over, and I had a bloody, again, it was about an 8-pound smoothhound on it. It took me about half an hour to land it because it was, I couldn't bully it because it was only hooked on a tiny hook. I didn't know what it was. Running me up and down the beach. Yeah, no, it was good fish. Tell you what, make your heart beat. .35 inches, so that's just under 3 foot. So that's probably what, 3 or 4 pounds. No, well, I mean, I've had some small ones about that length out on the boat. I've not had any big ones on the boat for actually a long time. Had some nice tope this year on the boat. Again, the biggest was probably about £10. Didn't have any scales on the boat, so I couldn't weigh any of these bloody fish. But it might have been more than £10. Well, I'm using carp tonight actually. I've got a cuttlefish out which I've stuffed with carp. I know that up in the northeast they rave about it, but all I've ever caught with anything with carp is proxy dogfish, to be honest. And I've been out fishing where people are catching cod. I don't know. I honestly don't know about sonic rods. I know that that people rave about them, but obviously I'm not tried everything. Yeah, I think that they're good rods, but I've not tried one. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'm not an expert. Don't get me wrong. I'm not an expert. I've done these things on tackle shops, but I'm basically talking to the experts in the tackle shops. And you know, it's like when I was doing the round the country visiting all the fishing tackle shops. I ended up buying stuff in every bleeding shop I went to. It cost me a fortune. And whenever I've done these tackle shop things, I end up spending a fortune. Then I did the reels with Tony and ended up buying a bloody reel. And I did the rods with Glenn and I ended up buying a bloody rod. So I think I'm single-handedly supporting my local tackle shops actually. I mean, I have to say that both the reel and the rod I bought are very nice. The rod is amazing. It's the one with the blue tip on over there. It's a Penn Mag 4 mixed ground rod. It's got so much backbone to it, but a really beautiful tip. Make your own rigs. Yeah, I've made my own rigs for years, but just recently I've been a bit lazy and I have bought a few, I have to say. And you know, you're trusting another man's knots, aren't you? Yeah, again, I used to love Daiwa rods actually. I must admit my favourite beach casting rod was, well, you know, light beach caster was a Daiwa Bass, and I had that for quite a few years, and then I snapped it. But it was such a dream to fish with. It's probably similar action to the one that I've got here actually. Beautiful rod. And Any Fish Anywhere, again, I've never tried them, but I do know that all the people that have got them rate them, really rave about them. I can only say that I would have never have bought a Penn rod for fishing off the beach. I know Penn are great for their reels, but yeah, I dread to think how many £1,000 worth of fishing tackle I've got, actually. Yeah, but this Penn rod, I had a cast of it off the beach yesterday, and I had to go and buy it today. It's so nice, such a lovely rod. It's you know, it's a continental rod that is built for pendulum casting with a multiplier. So it's a longer rod. It's so forgiving. I'm really looking forward to just coming down and on a day session, just whacking out and seeing how far I can cast it. You know, really improve my technique. On the yesterday, the first cast, which I was gentle with, it went out for miles. And then of course I started trying too hard, and the casts weren't so good. But because it's a longer rod, everything's that little bit slower when you're doing pendulum casting. So the timing is different to what I'm used to. Yeah, well, I mean, again, the Penn rod I'm fishing tonight is a 6 ounce. They do an 8. They do a 6, a 7, and an 8. And I imagine the 8 is a beast. I mean, I had a look at the 7 today, and that's quite stiff. That's quite stiff, and so I would imagine that the 8 is probably similar to what you're describing with the Any Fish. You know, and it's the sort of thing you want to fish on really heavy, you know, big leads, Bristol Channel, up in the northeast of England or something like that. For along the south coast here, apart from when it's really windy or when there's a lot of weed out there, you don't need that. I mean, I've got 3 Ziplexes, and one of my Ziplexes is a beast of a rod. So. I have to say I don't like casting leads more than 6 ounces. I just don't like doing it. It's just a bit too heavy. Great big bloody swinging great thing. I don't know if I'm strong enough to bloody whack out an 8 ounce lead. I suppose the lead and the bait that I've chucked out here probably weighs quite a lot actually. Right guys, well I'll leave the camera going, but I am going to start packing up now. I think start winding these rods in, so I'll leave it going and see if there's anything on the live bait rod, and I'll refresh the light, so it's a bit dull at the moment. See what we're saying? Yeah, 6 ounces is enough for me. Couldn't go any heavier. I had the setup I said, and had the cart set up for a few hours to spur Argus. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I do buy stuff from online, Argus and Amazon and whatever. Sometimes it's the only place you can get these things, and also sometimes you get them that quick. You know, quicker than it would be to drive to the bloody tackle shop, it seems. But you don't get the service that you would get. Push the battery. Well, it is coming to the end of the session. We've given it a good go. We've had some decent sized baits out for quite a while now, with the hope of picking something reasonable up, but we were getting picked up. We were getting rattled by whiting without a doubt, but nothing big's turned up. So I'm going to start packing up now. So thanks very much for joining me on this session. I'll see you on the next one. Keep safe, keep sane, keep fishing. People, come away from that. Don't knock that over. Right, that was me just winding up the video. Let's put this camera down so it doesn't get knocked over by the dog, which is always a possibility. See the live bait rig. The live bait rig worked really well. That's perfect live bait, and it's well positioned for the main hook. If there was a cod or a conger around there that wanted to eat whiting, that would have been perfect for him. Nice small whiting, but it's not been touched. But at least the system worked. that was on a whole cuttlefish, and it's foul hooked itself. And yeah. And then obviously it's been ragged by 1,000 and other little cuttlefish. When I'm winding my rods in, we had a live bait on the live bait rod, but unbeknownst to me, we had a live bait on the big bait rod. That was a whole cuttlefish on there that's been completely noshed by whiting, so much so that this one managed to foul hook itself on the 4.0 hook. Yeah, it looks like something's tried to eat this whiting as well. So cannibalised it. Yeah, so that's it for the night. We are going home. See ya. Right guys, well, you're still watching. I say I'll leave it running while I'm packing up, but there's nothing more to see really. There's going to be no more fish because we've stopped fishing, but yeah guys, I'm going to say good night now. I'm going to kill this one. Thanks very much for joining me. Got 25 likes, which is the result. Fantastic night on the beach. It's not been cold enough for me to even put on my hand warmers, so beautiful. We look down that way, see Eastbourne in the distance there. My little home on the beach. Billy Bob in his coat. Gonna say good night and God bless. See you again. Bye. Good night, Sammy.